Since you've ended up on this page, you're probably reading about our travel reimbursement policy and procedures. In this video, I'll discuss the details of the overnight travel reimbursement and show you how to fill out reimbursement forms. We'll cover the main expenses such as registration fees, airfare, and hotel costs, also transportation and meal reimbursement rules. We'll talk about the importance of planning ahead and when you must submit reimbursement requests. These two items are actually brand new to our procedures because we introduced the travel authorization form and set up a strict timeline of 45 days to submit your reimbursement requests. But first things first. The City of Minneapolis recognizes the value of professional seminars and business meetings and provides travel funds to attend them. However, all such activities must demonstrate that there is a valid city interest to be served or gained throughout the travel. When you're discussing a future overnight trip with your supervisor, ask yourself, does my participation in this conference benefit the city? Does it improve my skills so I can better serve the public? Does it promote a public purpose? In order to promote a public purpose, an activity must benefit the community and has to be directly related to functions of government. Also, the primary objective must be public and not private interest. But before you go, take a step back and think for a moment. The public purpose doctrine requires that you spend the public funds wisely. So what if there is another way to obtain the same knowledge someplace else and for less money? Actually, according to the current travel procedures, you must evaluate other options that fall within a 6 months period to see if you can get the same results and save the taxpayers' dollars. Let's say there is an online training, or we have a large group of people and it's cheaper to invite the speaker to Minneapolis instead. Also, check out different locations for the same or similar event. Some might be cheaper to travel to. This form needs to be filled out and signed by your supervisor before any reservations are made. It allows to budget the travel and to clearly see how much money is being spent overall, as reimbursements and city prepaid items. Authorization must be obtained at least 14 days prior to travel, the sooner the better. Now we'll talk about some aspects of the travel experience itself. Let's start with getting there. Suppose we're booking a flight. The city will reimburse for economy class tickets and one checked-in luggage bag. Attach the proposed flight information to the travel authorization form. To get to and from the airport, most people get dropped off, take taxi, or public transit. If public transit gets you to your destination within a reasonable amount of time, you're encouraged to use it. If you take a cab, ask for a receipt and you'll be reimbursed at the actual cost. If you get dropped off and picked up, Google the mileage from your workplace to the airport and from your home to the airport and put in the smaller number in the authorization and reimbursement forms. To answer your question, the difference between the two distances is considered your commute, which is never reimbursable. Mileage will be reimbursed based on the IRS tax deduction mileage rates. When you arrive to your destination, please choose the most cost-effective option to get to your hotel. If you do end up needing a rental car, you must get an approval from your supervisor prior to the trip. If several people attend the same event, carpool whenever possible. The City of Minneapolis has a vendor contract with Enterprise Rent-A-Car and its sister company National Car Rental. All car rental must go directly through these companies. We have a city client code and we must provide it when making reservations. If you rent a car and park it at the hotel, the lowest daily parking rate will be reimbursed. Valet is not reimbursable unless it's the only option. Now we'll talk about selecting a hotel for your stay. Most of the time, the hotel you'll be staying at will also host the event. If this is not the case, look for nearby hotels so you don't have to travel far, and look for hotels offering government rates. The city allows to book single occupancy standard room only. If you're going to stay with some friends and relatives, you're not eligible for reimbursement of any lodging costs. The same applies if you stay at a vacation rental place like an Airbnb. They're not approved by the city and those costs will not be reimbursed. The question I get asked a lot is, what if I can't make it on time in the morning or the event ends and no reasonable flights back are available? Can I arrive the day before or stay for an extra night? Good question. The answer is yes, if additional nights are justified. Ideally, you would leave in the morning of the event day and come back the night the event ends. But this doesn't always happen, especially when you travel far. To fix this, we put together the guidelines on when you can book extra nights. First, if the event starts before 8 a.m. or it would be a hardship for you to get there on time, you're allowed to travel the day before and stay overnight. Then, when the event ends, if you can't book a flight that leaves before 9 p.m. and arrives at a reasonable hour, you can fly back the next morning. Another important part of the reimbursement process is meals and incidental expenses. The City of Minneapolis uses the current GSA per diem schedule to pay for meals and incidentals. You don't need to submit the receipts for your meal expenses. A lot of times the event fees include lunch. This means that we're already prepaying for lunch when paying the event fees. The same expense cannot be reimbursed twice, so in this case, you would deduct lunch from your per diem allowance. GSA website has a per diem breakdown. When you attach the event brochure to a travel authorization form, highlight and write down whether meals are included in the event fees and adjust your per diem estimates accordingly. Some hotels have breakfast included in the rate. Our travel policy and procedures require that you deduct the breakfast allowance if the hotel provides hot breakfast as part of their rate. If they only have continental breakfast, you can skip it and eat somewhere else. You will still get the reimbursement. We've made some changes to the allowances for travel days, departure and return days. The old procedures allowed full per diem for travel days. Our current procedures allow to get reimbursed only for meals you actually pay for on travel days. There is a table in the overnight travel procedures document that gives you meal times applicable to travel days. For example, if you only pay for dinner on departure day, you can only claim a dinner and incidentals portion of the per diem. The same logic applies for the return day. Now we've covered most of things that you'll see during your overnight travel, and we're going to move on to the next section of the training and discuss a couple of forms. We touched up on the travel authorization form in the beginning, and now I'll show you how to fill one out. Let's take a look. The first three fields are pretty self-explanatory. We'll use an imaginary character and situation. Alright, Samantha Smith, CPAD ID 123456, time reporting code TVL. Destination, Cleveland, Ohio. Purpose of the trip and benefit to the city. Think hard on this one and be as detailed as possible. For our example, we'll put Energy Exchange Conference to learn about the latest practices on energy efficiency. Now we need to put in how it benefits the city and the public. Let's do improve energy-related resources and capabilities, advance knowledge of building energy technologies, improve the city's capability to address emergency energy losses. Looks pretty good. Estimated departure and return. Write in estimated time and date when you leave your house or workplace. Our sample event starts on Monday morning, May 14th, and ends at noon on Thursday, May 17th. In our form, we'll put May 13, 7:30 a.m. here because we can't make it early enough on Monday, and we come back on Thursday, May 17th at 8 p.m. Personal time. The City of Minneapolis discourages extending a trip for personal reasons. This is done because such practice might encourage business trips that are not essential, or to encourage business trips when alternative to travel exists, for example, a conference call versus a trip. Next section describes the estimated trip cost. Registration fees, $375. The fees are prepaid by the city, so we check here. Lunch is included in 3 days, but not on Thursday, but we still click yes. Hotel expenses. The event is taking place at the convention center, so we need to research hotel costs. When picking a hotel, we need to look at 3 factors: cost, safety, and proximity. There are 3 well-known hotels near the convention center. All 3 are close to downtown restaurants and are considered safe. So based on the safety and proximity factors being the same, Samantha would choose the most cost-effective hotel. And if you think about it, this price difference, as small as it may seem, provides no benefit to the public. Total for 4 nights after taxes, $623. City prepaid. There is a hot breakfast at the hotel, so it will affect our per diem calculations. Getting to the airport and to the convention center and back. A cab to Minneapolis-St. Paul will cost about $50 each way. Then, to get to the hotel, Samantha will take Uber or taxi. We'll put an estimated cost of $30 each way. Luggage usually $25 each way, and Samantha doesn't need a car for business purposes. Airfare costs $331, Make sure you allow yourself enough time to catch your return flight. Meals and incidentals. On departure day, Samantha will be leaving her house at 7:30 a.m. Because she's leaving after 7 a.m., breakfast for this day is disallowed. GSA website quotes $69 for Cleveland, and we subtract $16 for breakfast. Monday through Wednesday, breakfast and lunch are disallowed. On Thursday, another travel day, the conference ends at noon and no lunch is provided. So on Thursday, we have breakfast excluded and lunch and dinner reimbursed. Other travel options reviewed. We always have to think about it. We can put this in the field. Annual event, multiple speakers and topics covered, alternatives would require many smaller trips at a high total cost. Attach estimates and submit to your supervisor for approval. Don't book anything until approval is received. The updated procedures require that you submit the travel expense reimbursement request with all original receipts to the payroll department within 45 days from return of travel. After this period, the request will not be processed. Now let's take a look at the reimbursement request. You'll have most of the data available from the authorization form. For time, we put in the actual departure and return time. 5:13:18, 7:40 a.m. here. Actual return, 5:17:18, 8:15 p.m. Business, 5:13, 7:40 a.m., 5:17, 8:15 p.m. No personal travel. Trip duration, 5 days total. Business purpose, 5, personal purpose, 0. Registration fees, paid on 3/20/18, $375, prepaid by the city. Airfare, 3/20/18, $331. Hotel, 3/20/18, $623. Meals and incidentals, $214 goes in employee paid expenses column. Getting to and from the airport, $100 total. Getting to the hotel and back cost Samantha $53 total by Uber. Other expenses, baggage fees at $50. Total $13.29 for city prepaid items and $4.17 for reimbursement. Attach travel authorization form and all the receipts. Staple together and submit to the payroll department. All done. And don't forget, you have 45 days after you get back to submit the request. I think we've covered all the main points of the overnight travel policy and procedures. If you have any questions about the reimbursement process, please do not hesitate to contact your supervisor, travel coordinator, or a person from their internal controls and risk management team. And as with any other city spending, please be mindful of the costs and make sure the activity benefits the people and organizations we serve. Thanks for watching.